and welcome to the second part of the Fourth Doctor time capsule. I decided to move the book to part 3 because I think the DVDs and audios are sort of more exciting and then you just, well, basically you do all the DVDs and then you've got a book. It's sort of a weird finish to a video, but I thought I'll do the DVDs and audio. So if we start with the most exciting one, which is Terror of the Zygons, which shall be released on the 30th of September. Hopefully they won't push it back. I think I found a reason why they pushed it back, because this was meant, well, Terror of the Zygons was meant to be released in June, was it June, July, somewhere around that time. But then this was announced and Terror of the Zygons was sort of pushed back into September. So it's quite interesting. But they saved this story for this set. Well, this is the last ever Tom Baker story to be released on DVD without special editions. This is the last this is the last full story to be released in the DVD line, because we've still got some of the missing episodes to come out, such as the Underwater Menace and Moon Base. So this is the last full intact story without becoming a special edition or special editions. Well, if that makes sense. So if we look at the cover, so we've got the TARDIS roundels at the top with the big squiggly writing. Don't know if you can make it out at the moment, but if you apply this magic disc, you can translate it, and it says Terror of the Zygons. There we have it, Terror of the Zygons. Then we have the seal of Rassilon, I think it is. I'm not too good with Gallifrey symbols, but I think it is the seal of Rassilon. Then we've got 2 bolts there, and it carries on this sort of TARDIS roundels, and it sort of reminds me like a leather, like a red leather sort of tan thing. Like, it's a really good effect. It is a PG. On the back we don't have any bio, it just carries on the TARDIS roundels with PG, so Parrington Guardian guidance of, well, mild fantasy and violence. We have a bit of information on Terror of the Zygons, well, a bit of bio on the story, so if you want to read that, please do feel to pause. The total running time of this story is 96 minutes, and the disc is basically the same, just a seal saying Doctor Who Terror of the Zygons. Now if I just remove the disc, you can see the 50th anniversary logo, so you can see it's part of the 50th anniversary year, and it carries on this sort of, well, the TARDIS roundels, you can just make it out there. What sort of remind me of the Master's TARDIS. Terror of the Zygons, I'll just do a quick little chat about it, because I don't want to spoil my review for it. Because I will do a big in-depth video on the DVD. This is just a quick little fire around what I think of the story. Now, this is a brilliant story. Everybody sort of agrees that this is one of the best Tom Baker stories in my mind. If this was out in April when I did my top 6 Tom Baker stories, this would instantly become, would knock a few entries off, because this is a brilliant story. The Zygons are a brilliant concept. Robert Stuart Banks, I think, is one of the best Doctor Who writers. He only wrote 2 stories. His first was Terror of the Zygons, his hand was Terror of the Zygons, and his last was The Seeds of Doom. I think he only wrote 2. I may be wrong, but I think he wrote 2. And those 2 stories have always been sort of brilliant, always been brilliant in my mind. But the Zygons are a brilliant concept, shapeshifters. And I love the whole idea that it's set in Scotland and using the Scarrison as the Loch Ness Monster. Brilliant, very clever, and it's a brilliant story. Not more I can say about that without going in too much detail, although I may have covered a bit too much. So if we look at an interview with a Time Lord, which is never going to see a release for the classic shelf, but this is a one-off DVD, and it is an interview with Tom Baker. It says an interview with a Time Lord. So if you look at the cover, it's just blue with the same sort of feeling, well, the same sort of well, it's the same as all the DVDs. So if we look inside, it's just got, well, it says an interview with a Time Lord in conversation with Tom Baker. An exclusive interview with actor Tom Baker was shot early 2013, looking back at his long, varied career as an actor. Tom talks openly about his time as the Fourth Doctor and recalls stories from the set of Doctor Who and reminisces about his on-screen companions and talks about his loyal fans of the series. That's just what it says there. And the disc is just basically the seal saying an interview with a Time Lord. Total running time is 25 minutes approximately. So yeah, I think this is brilliant. It's very funny. I mean, there's a clip on the Doctor Who YouTube channel where Tom Baker talks about the most glamorous Doctor Who in his opinion he thinks is Paul McGann, and his talks about regeneration when he took over from John Pertwee and when Peter Davison took over, and it's interesting that the Doctors don't talk about each other's work. They just talk, well, about their time in Doctor Who. They just talk about plays they've done, films they've been in, but not Doctor Who, because I think that may be picking favourites amongst the Doctors. Yeah, so this is really good. It's very good. Tom Baker's witty as ever, and yeah, it's just Tom Baker, so it's just going to be an enjoyable. So 25 minutes. Now we have the audio Genesis of the Daleks. Just put that over there. Now this, in many people's mind, is the iconic Dalek story. This story sort of says it all, really. This shows how the Daleks came to be. Yeah, so this time it's green. The cover is green, so yes, it is green. Now we've got a bit of information about Genesis of the Daleks, so feel free to pause it. Now this is an audio. I haven't listened to it, so I don't know. Well, I assume it's a full 6 parts. Genesis of the Daleks. But Genesis of the Daleks is a good story. Now I think this was the first ever story to be released on vinyl. Now vinyl was sort of a big sort of record thing. I think that was released in 1979. And Genesis of the Daleks has always been put on audio. I mean, this was released in the Telegraph, so if you got the Telegraph, then you're not really missing out on this, really. Yeah, I haven't actually compared the size of the DVDs to a normal. So here we have a standard classic DVD. You can see quite a chunky DVD. Then we have a new one. I'll just go out. Well, one of the Fourth Doctor time capsule. There we have it. They're really thin, but I presume that is to fit them all in the box. But Genesis of the Daleks is a good story. It has linking narration with Tom Baker, which is always good to hear Tom Baker doing some other stuff. Yeah. So that has been the DVDs. I hope you've enjoyed it. Well, and audio. Yes. And yeah, I think they're brilliant choices. Genesis of the Daleks, it would have been interesting to have had it on DVD again, but that has been released in the Davros monster file, so we don't want to be a bit repetitive. Terror of the Zygons is a welcome addition in this set, and an interview with a Time Lord is another welcome addition to this set. And Genesis of the Daleks is, well, take it or leave it, whatever you want. But join me next time, as it will be the final part where we shall look at the book, the art cards, and my overall thoughts on the set. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed this video. Yeah, so for now, goodbye.